So this is a project I've been wanting to do for some time now. I grew up in the 1990s and the 2000s, and the thing about that era is screensavers were a big deal back then, largely due to CRT monitors being, pretty much entirely due to CRT monitors being the standard as opposed to flat panel LCD or OLED displays like we've got today. Though CRT, those old CRT displays would get screen burn if left on the same image for too long, and so to remedy that, people came up with screensavers to prevent that from happening. Kind of the Chrysler of screensavers, if you will, back in that era was one called After Dark that had a few different versions, four mainline versions, and then there were various expansion packs and stuff like that. And I grew up on After Dark. I remember it was a big part of my childhood, and I very fond memories, a lot of nostalgia about just looking as a kid, just watching these screensavers, because like they took the concept of the screensaver, and a lot of their whole purpose, a lot of their whole deal was like, this isn't just a utilitarian feature. Let's like use this as a means of like artistic expression. These are kind of like digital art pieces as much as they are the utilitarian function of screensavers. And I always really enjoyed them, and I really enjoyed them as an adult. And I want to do a tier maker of After Dark screensaver modules because I like old software and old computer stuff from like 20, 30 years ago. That's the thing about me. So I've got my tiers over here, which you can see in that Chrome window at the top right. Reasonably self-explanatory. S tier obviously is going to be the cream of the crop, the really good stuff, the all-time classics. A tier is still really good, maybe not quite the all-timers, but still perfectly good. B is fine. C is meh, whatever. Only one that's kind of like a deviation from a lot of the norms you see with tier makers. So I've got this bottom tier labeled U. I've got that for utilitarian, like I mentioned earlier. That tier is going to be reserved for the screensavers where like there isn't really any artistic purpose to them. It's just meant to be a screensaver. It's just meant to serve the utilitarian purpose of let's put the screen on something else so that we don't get screen burn on this CRT. So those are the ones where it's not really meant for any kind of entertainment value. So I feel like that's it kind of merits a tier of its own. I don't know if I got anything else much in the way of prelude. I'm gonna start with After Dark 3. There were again the four mainline versions. 3 and 4 are the two that I'm most familiar with. So I'm gonna start with 3. The specific download that I got, and I got these downloads off of Macintosh Garden. This specific download that I got has some of the expansion packs in it, like More After Dark, and there was one called, I think, Art of Darkness, if I remember correctly. So those are bundled into this too, but to my understanding and from my recollection, going off of the install disk, I still have an original After Dark 3 install disk, and it still works. But based off of that, those weren't included in the main After Dark 3 pack, so I'm going to omit those for right now, and I'm just going to do the ones that I distinctly remember as being part of After Dark 3. So, let's dive in. Let's do this. Enough of the preamble. So up first we got Artist. Let's just take a look. Let's just see what it does. See what it do. We've got our stock sample image. That is the After Dark logo. Very, very creative stuff there. Looks like it might have frozen or something. That's a good start. That's a good start to this video. It's analyzing it again. Oh no. Detail set to random. That would do it. I promise you I've used these before. I know what I'm doing, more or less. So we got all these different tools. Used all these different tools for different art styles. Yeah, that's cool. Chalk. White, obviously. And obviously part of the whole shtick with this is that you can put your own images in, so there's some customizability to it. And just rendering JPEGs in various artistic styles. It's fine. I guess the entertainment factor is a little bit malleable based on whether or not you put your own custom images in there. If you leave it just kind of as is, I'm feeling like it's more kind of C tier, but if you can put your own stuff in there, then that adds an interesting element to it. Like one thing I've done with these before is I've put like album covers and used those, and that makes it a little more interesting. All in all, it's fine. I feel like that's B tier. All right, up next, we got a classic. We got Bad Dog. And there he is. The titular Bad Dog.
Bad Dog!
There you have it. Oh, he's so sad. That's about the gist of it. He runs around on the desktop and just runs all kinds of assorted amok. The only customizable thing, because a lot of these are very customizable, some of them are not so much customizable. Audio's still working. That's good. You can adjust the discipline of the unseen owner, narrator, the unreliable narrator, if you will. Adjust the discipline. So, you know, are they a really strict dog owner, getting on him about every little damn thing, or are they the common American dog owner, which is they don't give much of a shit about what the dog does? So up to you to decide. One thing that's interesting to take into account with something like Bad Dog is that while it is really entertaining and very creative as far as screensavers go, the screensaver itself is still just your desktop, but just with the dog running around. So from like a utilitarian standpoint, it's not that effective as a screensaver. But I don't really want to take that into account because I'm gauging these kind of more just based on how entertaining are they, how fun are they. So by that metric, Bad Dog, solid S tier. Okay. What we got next? What's on deck next? Audio's still working. The Sheepsaver's having a glitch where the audio keeps cutting out periodically. Don't know what that is. We got bugs. I hate bugs, just in general. I understand their ecological purpose, but on a personal level, don't care. So this don't do it for me personally, but it is cool. You can change the amount of bugs that you get. That changes in real time. That's cool. A lot of the time when you like customize things while the demo is running, it has to restart, but it doesn't do that with this one. That's interesting. Sometimes it takes a while, and I don't want to keep it on this forever, but there's a funny little gag where after a while, a little bug trap slides in, and it's labeled Bates Motel, like bait, like tackle, which is a good pun. And then sometimes a bug will walk into the bug trap, and then you'll hear a scream. It's a funny little gag. My personal distaste for bugs notwithstanding, that's a solid one. I'm throwing that in the A tier. Clocks. We got clocks on deck next. It's exactly what's written on the tin, kind of. Got different types of clocks. That is mutating, mutation rate, Gen X. I don't know what exactly Gen X is supposed to mean. I mean, obviously Generation X is like the generational cohort, you know, born between like 65 and 80. And like the 90s was kind of the decade of Generation X. I don't really know what that has to do with the rate that the images change. What are you gonna do? You know, Art Deco. That's nice. I like Art Deco as an art style. Opulence notwithstanding. You know, it's not exactly proletarian or anything like that. Modern, nice and boring, classic. Just like Grandma's house. Digital. Oh god, that's boring. Well, I like that the numbers morph. Change the drift speed. Whoa, slow down there, big dog. All right, sounds. Ticks and chimes. Chime, I think, happens on the hour. It is, yeah, we're 11 minutes past the hour. Don't feel like waiting 49 minutes. So, you know, it's a clock. You've seen them before, I assume. They still have clocks, right? Despite all the people saying that, like, you know, the young kids, you know, the youngsters, Gen Z, the Zoomers don't know how to read clocks till time. I think they still got clocks. I have a few clocks. B tier. It's fine. It's good. Maybe a light B. Who knows? These could always change in real time. Next we got Daredevil Dan. This is a good one. Look at him go. Like nothing. And with each one that he clears, the successive one, there you go, has more of the thing. That's funny. He's got more of the thing that he's jumping over.
Ow.
Hard luck. Usually it's buses, sometimes it's rings of fire, sometimes it's like a swimming pool with a piranha in it. So, a few different types. I will be honest, I have never been able to figure out what insurance risk modifies with this. I've messed with that a number of times, and I've never really noticed a difference, so that could just be a completely arbitrary thing, just as like a gag. In all, Daredevil Dan, very fun, very creative. I'm throwing Daredevil Dan in the S tier. Up next, DOS Shell. I'm going to move the window because all the text is left justified. There we go. I mean, there you have it. If you're a fan of way retro computing, or if you're, in this case, a Windows fan who happens to be using a Macintosh, this is the one for you. One thing that's cool about it is, if I remember correctly, oh yeah, look at that. 4/12/25, that's today. It actually uses in this little mock-up here your real file directories on your actual computer, which is a cool little touch. You can change the text color. Come on, man. I always liked amber. I like the warm colors. Dude, your WPM is rock bottom. Here I was critiquing this guy's typing acumen when you can modify the command speed. Command every 1 hour. That's still a little slow, but at least he's more on the ball about knowing what he's doing. That one's... Okay, the audio's still working. The audio keeps cutting out. Sheep Shaver is really buggy like that, and every time it does, I have to quit and restart. Real annoying. I feel like I want to put that in A tier. I enjoy that one. You know, it's kind of dry, but so am I. DrawMorph. This is another one of those customizable ones. All aboard! Airplane. Great movie. thing doesn't know how to interpret the mouse wheel commands. Pipe cleaner, man. Yeah, there he goes, all right. Cleaning pipe. Laying it, that's another story. There are customizable ones. Yeah, draw your own. So you can do your own doodles. How do I feel about that? It's a cool concept, but that's kind of a lot of effort to have to put in for a screensaver for the reasonably inexpensive, at least today, now that this is all freeware or abandonware. It's kind of a lot of effort for relatively free entertainment. So on that ground, I'm going to go B tier. It's fine. Next is Fish Pro. Select our fish. We got all of them. The whole shebang. This is a seafood platter right here. This is the fisherman's delight, or whatever it'd be called at a restaurant. I love seafood. I'm a big seafood fan. I had some salmon for dinner earlier tonight, as I often do. So, really, any one of these I could have a nice meal with. Jellyfish, perhaps not. Probably not. I don't know. Has anyone ever tried eating jellyfish? I don't know if that's a thing. I like seafood, but I'm not, all that learned about it or whatever. Let's go ahead and bump up those numbers. We want a lot of fish here. I want the whole platter. We definitely want the seafloor happening there. I mean, it's a fish screensaver. Like, this wasn't exclusive to After Dark. These were all over the place. Got little bubble sounds too. There were fish screensavers all over in the 90s and the early 2000s. This is nothing new. So it's not the most unique concept or anything like that, but it's a tried and true one. And on that basis, I think it's firmly deserving of an A. Also, they threw in jellyfish, and I've always really liked jellyfish. I did many a report on them in elementary school. Okay, here we go. I mean, it's the mascot. Gotta turn the karaoke on. It's the mascot of the whole shebang, the whole program. It's a cute little song. They wrote a whole song for this. That's the kind of attention to detail and the kind of effort that people were putting in to software back in the 1990s. With comparatively few resources and just not as much money. I like that dominant 7 chord. You can customize how many times the music plays, and you can also change it to be Right at the Valkyries. A general MIDI version of Wagner. Doesn't really do it justice compared to what you'd hear with like an actual symphony. Particularly like in that what was the name of that concert hall that Wagner like custom built? I don't remember. Flying Toasters. I mean, obvious lock for S. That is about as far as that's the S of S for these. Frost and Fire. Which one is this? That doesn't bode well for it. I don't remember what it is. Let's make it bigger. Very large. Oh boy, that's taxing this simulated CPU, the simulated PowerPC 604E, maybe? I don't know. I don't think you can really customize the CPU in Sheepshaver. It's just like, it's PowerPC, just kind of generic PowerPC. You're using 68K, Basilisk, or Basilisk, that's more Basilisk. Basilisk. That's hard to say, at least right now. Basilisk. That's going to be a little bit more your speed. Change the colors. Smooth. Okay. Smooth is blue. We like the cool colors. I like the warm colors better. Smooth. Look at that cool ranch. Remember when, like, the early 2000s when Doritos did all that rebranding, and so it was cooler ranch and nacho cheesier? I just thought that was stupid. But I mean, it's marketing. Marketing is stupid. It's not. It's not real. No, Banded was Banded me. Oh, that's cool. Looks like a turntable. What record are they spinning? It's some of that kitschy, gimmicky colored vinyl that I admittedly like. I know it's a gimmick, but I like it. I don't know, probably like some psychedelic rock, or maybe like some neo-psychedelia from like the 1990s. Maybe some like spiritualized. I don't really like spiritualized that much. Galaxy 500, something like that. I don't know. Okay. There are a lot of screensavers that are like that, where it's just like, here's a bunch of color and a bunch of shapes. Because I feel like a lot of that was coming from this standpoint, this very zeitgeisty of the era standpoint of like, there's a lot of growth in computing and like computing technology, because like the 90s was a decade of really rapid growth in computing and just technological capability. So I think there was a really strong urge among developers like these to leverage that and take advantage of it. So it's like, let's do all this real-time rendering for a screensaver to show off like what these new, like 604E PowerPC processors can do. And I imagine it was cool for the time, but there are just so many of them in these collections. They don't really stand out or anything. They're kind of generic, and they're really just not that impressive by today's standards. So, per today's standards, Frost and Fire, I am sorry, but you are going to be our first lock for C tier. Next, I'm going to skip a few because those are not, to my recollection, in the original After Dark 3 package. We're going to go to Guts. That's cool. You have the random option where there are only 2 shapes available. I don't know where they went. Oh, they're back. I've never seen a vivisection like in real time or anything, but I can only imagine that's roughly what guts look like. Speed cruising, yeah, cruising USA. Remember that game? It was a fun one. All right, cool. That's perfectly fine. I like the geometrical aspect, so I think I'm gonna put that just a skosh above Frost and Fire. It's gonna be a light B, strong C. But I'm gonna put it in the B tier ultimately to differentiate it from Frost and Fire, because I think that's a little bit more engaging and entertaining. What is next? Also, just what did I excise? What did I take? Believe it or not, there's not an already pre-made TierMaker for After Dark screensaver modules, so I made a custom one, and so I had to upload my own images, so I just took little screenshots of, those doodads there. So I can go off of that. Marbles. Oh, marbles. Let's put a lot of pins in there. I think I like the big pins. Yes. What do the different pins look like? Medium. Yeah. Those look like whatever those things are. I can't think of the word. What kind of pin is that? Large. Large and in charge. Large Marge. Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Tim Burton's first movie. Great one to start with. Back before Tim Burton, fell off. Ed Wood is his best movie, though. Yeah, and you just let this sucker... You can let this thing play for, like, an hour, 2 hours. Just let it fill up. I'm a big fan of the marbles concept. So honestly, for me personally, I'm gonna throw that in S tier. I'm a lighter S, but I just like it a lot. I like it so much. What do we got next? What do we have next? Messages. Out to lunch. It's a little late for that right now. It's nighttime. Coffee break. Definitely late for that. I can't do the coffee break. I love coffee, but I'm the type, like, 1 cup of coffee first thing in the morning, like right after I wake up, and then that is it. Anything more than that, and it's gonna mess me up. I quit. Living out the American dream. Quitting by way of screensaver. Why are you staring at my Macintosh? They specified Macintosh. That's very 90s. The old, like, Mac versus PC war. Not really relevant as much anymore. I mean, I use both in varying capacities. I mean, professionally and recreationally. I work in IT, so I have to use both. And Chrome OS, which I hate. I hate Chromebooks. I am personally more of a Mac guy than a Windows guy, but I mean, I think both have their merits. I think, like, the whole Mac versus PC debate is anymore really stupid. Like, the two operating systems are just, they become just so similar in, like, what they can do. Like, 20, 30 years ago, I think that there were much more significant differences in what they offered to the user. But anymore, they've just become so similar. I really think it's just a matter of personal preference. Oh. Great placement. And you can make custom messages. The ultimate screensaver collection. That was probably true. That probably wasn't just boasting. Did you also hear ducks just then? Or am I having a stroke? I don't know. Yeah, the Mac versus PC thing anymore. It's so outdated. It's so stupid. Why would the Mac versus PC debate still exist when instead the two could unite against the common enemy, the Chromebook? Messages. See, not that interesting. Movies Till Dawn. So this is an interesting case. I don't have, unless there's one that's, like, built in. Normally, I'm not seeing it. So, I mean, Movies Till Dawn is one where basically all it is it's just a UI shell for playing QuickTime files. If you've got just, like, any .mov file, you can select it, and then no movie has been selected. Yeah, it just, like, plays it. It played audio too. I pretty much never have video files in either my emulation environments or on any of the vintage computers, the vintage Macs that I actually have. So that one never really gets a lot of use, and it's like you could just pull up the QuickTime file and just watch that. Or today in 2025, you could just go on YouTube. However, one nice piece of nostalgia that I always associate with movies Till Dawn is my dad on his computer it was a Power Mac 7200, 90 megahertz, big money. Um, he had a brief, like 15-second long QuickTime file off of, I think, the Comedy Central website. And it was a brief snippet of the Mystery Science Theater 3000 intro, the Joel intro, before Mike became the host. And he had, I remember back in the 90s, he had that selected as his stock movie for Movies Till Dawn. And it was like super low res. It was super low res. I mean, we're talking a frame rate of like, 8 FPS, something like that. But that's a nice little piece of nostalgia because I love Mystery Science Theater. So Movies Till Dawn, I'm going to put in that utilitarian tier because it's just such a unique case, because basically it's just a shell for playing QuickTime files. We're skipping ahead to Nirvana. Sorry, Nirvana runs in 256 colors. Oh, for God's sakes. Do we still got sound. This is the longest it's gone without cutting out. That's cool. 256 colors. That's got to be like an artificial limitation to prevent bottlenecking. Cuz oh yeah. Like 1995 or whatever, trying to render that in like thousands or millions of colors on a computer rocking like 60 megahertz. Whoa. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it would straight up catch on fire. Color enamel. I like that. I like the contrast. They're complementary colors. Lines. Ooh, groovy. Shagadelic, baby. Metal. That looks pretty metallic, alright. Very Terminator 2. Rainbow. There could be a few more colors in there. But I get the gist. I get what you're going for. Contrast. Dull as dishwater, baby. Stripes. That is similarly shagadelic. Smooth. Random. Redraw every. Okay. Activity. We change the activity. Frenetic. Whoa. Oh my god. Okay. It's a little much. Let's slow it down. Alright. So, I mean, that kind of falls into that same category of, like, let's just throw a bunch of cool colors and shapes at you to show off, like, what these new generation CPUs can do. But that one's way cooler than, like, Frost and Fire, so I'm going to throw that in B tier. Okay, what's next? Oh, nonsense. This one's fun. It's like Messages, but they can hear over Johann Sebastian Bach and it that automatically kisses crooks with that football without the lava. Yeah, man. You said it, whatever it is. They were being no grotesque book. Could some baboon excruciatingly sardonically have sprouted? A lot of the time when people are being sardonic, they're also excruciating, so I feel that. No haughty green swords are writing excruciatingly vehemently. A lot of excruciating things happening here. You who were oh shit, okay. Ernie and we will battle. Ernie and we, yeah man. Nevertheless, this delirious kumquat enthusiastically wanted to swim. They'll do that. So yeah, it's got this predetermined library of terms that you can customize, and then it's just like a random like sentence generator. It's a fun concept, you know? You can adjust the delay, you can adjust whether or not they have like backsplashes, you can adjust how many of them pop up at a time. It's fun, you know? It's fun and kind of kooky. Nonsense, I'm going to throw that in the B tier. What do we got next? I think puzzle is the next one. That would have been in the OG After Dark 3 pack. You can change the size. Easy mode for the kids or the idiots. Alright, very fast. That's fun. I like it. B tier. Rat Race. Oh, Rat Race. This training. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm on their side. I'm with the rats on this. We're going professional. Habitrail hipster. Wow. Hipster jokes. Like 15 years before they became popular. Back when you probably hadn't heard of them. Remember hipster jokes from like 2011? Alright, who am I rooting for? Rat tattooing. Nice. You could go the extra step and have like a 2-for-1 pun, and it could be Rat Tatooine. 10-fingered Freddy. I think Tom Green owns that one. It's green too, so I think I'm rooting for Habitrail Hipster on this one because I like yellow. Again, I like the warm colors. And I also like the underdogs. And look no further. $5,000 down the drain on that asshole. We'll let him take the dub. All right. Oh, we got red. Ah, don't do that to me. Red's my favorite color. Okay. Anyway, you get the gist. Rat Race. S. Absolutely, that's an S. Alright, Ray. This one requires a PowerPC processor. Only runs in 256 clock. Yep, see, there you go. See, this one is a lot more like CPU intensive, so they had to throw in that artificial limitation. At least that's what I assume is the case for these ones that just arbitrarily have to run in 256. It's bouncing. I'm not sure I've ever seen it bounce before. It's bouncing on that thing, as Zoomers on Twitter would say. I don't know. I'm a millennial, so I'm basically geriatric at this point. Oh, okay. Shadows. I guess that's blue. Black. Okay, that definitely looks like black. Two of them. Oh, okay, I see. That's right. You can modify. Well, theoretically, you can modify the shape. I specifically remember it being like a multifaceted diamond, gemstone, gemerald kind of thing. That's fine. as far as like the modules where it's like, let's show off what the processor can do. It's a little more inventive, a little more impressive for the time, I suppose. B tier. A lot of B's here. But S's are second. Next. Oh, that's Rebound. I like Rebound. I like wobbly turned off. And yeah, I prefer it with the screen cleared. You can have just plastic or just metal. They have different sound effects. That's a nice detail. Or both. And yeah, let's have oodles of balls. Man, I like Rebound a lot. I always have. I just think it's fun. I like how in the icon, there's a green one, but there isn't actually a green one in the screensaver itself. Perhaps something for the beta version that got cut out. I don't know. Who's to say? If anybody ever happens to see this, who was involved in the development of After Dark, let me know. You know, drop something in the comments. Like, what do you think? What do you think? Leave a comment. You know, some, you know, SEO gaming shit. Stupid. Anyway, what am I? Rebound. Where am I putting that? Strong A. Very strong A. I kind of want to do S, but I don't know about that. I think Rose is next in our menagerie of After Dark 3. Alright, we can adjust the speed, the trail length, big dots or small dots, color or lack thereof. That is nice and perfectly boring. C tier it is. Satori. Which one is this again? Oh, yeah, another one of those just like colors and shapes ones. Satori. Like Satori and Tangiers, the King Crimson song. Off the album Beat from 82, I think. Underrated album. Not one of their best. But I think it's underappreciated. As far as like 80s King Crimson goes, it's not as good as Three of a Perfect Pair or Discipline, but it's still solid. Let's throw a bunch of knots in there, I guess. Yeah, those are some knots, all right. That's what my massage therapist tells me my traps look like. Adjust the colors. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's not really doing it for me. There's one in After Dark 4 that does basically the same thing, but I think it does it better. So, by that rationale, I'm going to throw that in the C tier. Stronger C, maybe light B, but, you know, who... Okay, we're at the bottom. We're nearing the end, and we're going to jump down to Tunnel here, which is exactly what it sounds like. Or the Chunnel, I suppose, if you're in England. Jolly old England, which I'm not. I don't know if you can tell. Nope. Wrong way. Didn't mean to go that way. I needed the other tunnel. Shape. Rect. Oval. I mean, what more is there to say? I'm gonna give that a light B. Vista, PowerPC only. Okay, I like Vista. Yeah. Oh yeah. You can change the spacing of the dots. That I don't know what that is, but I don't want it. You can change the viewing angle. Oh, that's cool. Change the color scheme. I have a very distinct memory from my childhood. This probably would have been like 1997, something like that. Again, I grew up on this stuff. Watching this one and eating salt and vinegar potato chips. So this always makes me think of salt and vinegar chips, which is an S tier chip flavor. Big fan of salt and vinegar. I don't eat a lot of chips. Just in terms of just like nutrition, diet, that kind of thing. But when I do, God, salt and vinegar. So because I love salt and vinegar chips, I think I'm gonna throw Vista on the S. Maybe lighter S, strong A, light S. But sometimes you gotta go with your gut in this one. And my gut is saying I could go for some salt and vinegar chips. However, I don't have any in the pantry at this moment. Warp. It's just like that standard issue Windows screensaver. So standard issue, I yawned. C tier. You bet your head. This one is fantastic. Okay, we're maxing all these out. All right, this is a great concept. Excellent concept. Rocking that hi-hat. I mean, it kind of depends on what country you're in. It's not the vernal equinox, because that's when spring starts. Smart man. This one is like particularly personally enjoyable for me because I have a side gig as a bar trivia host. Certainty, that's my favorite deadly sin. Bossiness. Great song. I think that's Lydian mode. That sounds like it's got the sharp 4. Okay, no, that's Mixolydian. That's got that signature flat 7. Come on, chop chop. Dumbass. Baba Ganoush. Oh yeah, this is one of the interactive ones. Where you can actually play it yourself. Again, just these guys were being like wildly creative with stuff for the era. It's really cool. That one's fun as hell. That's S tier, baby. All right, last one on docket, on deck. Zooommm. Zoom, like that annoying Mazda kid. Zoom in. Oh, God almighty. It's like Tunnel, but not as interesting. Zoom. I'm gonna put that in C tier. There we go. That's After Dark 3. It's After Dark 3 right there. We got the most B's, followed by S, then C, and then A. And Movie Till Dawn is the only one that I put in the utilitarian tier. It could be that Logo also was in After Dark 3, and I just forgot about it. That's literally all it is. So that one would go in the utilitarian tier, if that was included. Yeah, that's After Dark 3. I reckon I'll do 4 at some point. But yeah. Those are some of my thoughts on some screensavers from 30 years ago, because this is the kind of thing that people en masse care about. The people clamor, really. They yearn for the era of the screensaver. And that's an experience that I'm here to deliver. The experience of just shut it off, set it and forget it, and just don't pay attention. I think I can provide that. Anyway, have a good night, everybody.